Christmas Deadpool. Hey, what's going on? I'm Jake Blackstaff, and in this video we're going to talk about 5 tips that will help you with your video quality on YouTube. It's going to be a little bit more technical for some of these, and some of the stuff you might already know, but regardless, hopefully this might help you out. Let's get into it. Alright, my first tip is talking about frame rates. There's lots of videos out there talking about it, but the big thing I see a lot of new people do is picking the wrong frame rate for their videos. What I mean by that is you don't want to have a 60 frames per second project when it's supposed to be more cinematic or epic looking, because then the motion blur just won't look right and it'll look like a soap opera kind of. Ideally for most projects, if you're doing like a cinematic or a TV show style environment, you're going to want 24 or 30 frames per second. A lot of people go personal preference on that. I like doing 24 because it has that motion blur that looks really nice and it just makes the image look a lot more pleasing. But if you're doing sports or video games, 60 frames per second looks a lot better for that sort of thing, because then you can get more detail and see more of the action. Another advantage if you're doing lower frame rates though, is that if you do record in 60 frames per second or higher, you can slow down. And if you're doing your project in 60 and you're recording in 60, you can't really slow down. So you lose that whole slow-mo option in your footage. So yeah, that's the first tip there. Choose the right frame rate for your project. For number 4, we're talking about bitrate. What that is your megabits per second. You'll have a comparison here. Here's a low bitrate and a higher bitrate with the same footage filmed from the same camera, and you can see that it looks more pixelated and less quality. The reasoning is there's less data per frame. So if you choose a higher bitrate, you'll have more data per frame. The trade-off is, yes, your files will be bigger. Once they're uploaded to YouTube, that's not really an issue anymore. It's more of your file that you have on your computer, which if you keep or delete, that's up to you. But yeah, this is a big one. The default values on most programs for exporting, some not even give you a choice, I don't think, but you want to go a higher bitrate if you can, so that when YouTube compresses it, you're not losing quality as well. So yeah, bitrate, that's a big one. Number 3, we're gonna talk about lighting. Yes, lighting. Lighting is so important. As you can see here, I have lots of lights all over the place to make this brighter, because a brighter pixel is a better looking pixel. And I'll show you a comparison what it looks like when I turn off some of this lighting. And so here, give me 1 second. Here's the same shot that you just saw, only using just the light that's up here. As you can see, my face is dark, you can't see. If I turn towards the light, you can see a bit better, but yeah, this is not good. This is not really usable. So let's switch back. Much better, right? You can see my face clearly, there's some good shadowing. We have a light behind me that separates me from the background. This is something that will easily make your videos look better, and it's actually a lot of fun to set up and figure out, to try to have new sets and experiment with. So this one's the big one as well to help improve your video quality, is having good lighting, because if you can't see it, what's the point of even having it as video? Number 2, and this is probably the most important, but I'm saving number 1 as kind of a special thing for me, but audio. Audio is so important in your videos. It is more important than video. You could have the best looking video in the world, but if the audio sucks, no one's gonna be watching it. Though I know I've done it, you've probably done it, you click away from the video because you're like, oh, this sounds bad. Even if you're recording videos with your cell phone, which a lot of people do, you're still able to plug in an external mic and have better sounding audio. Even if you're using your onboard microphones on your camera, because some of them, like these Sony cameras, have pretty decent audio coming directly out of the camera, you can do little things like playing background music or something like that to hide background noises, little hums or something like that you can hear that you don't want the audience to hear, because things like that are really important. People notice audio subconsciously almost, where it's a bigger thing than you would actually expect. That's one thing to invest your time into learning to get better with, is doing better audio, because that'll go a long way. Alright, the final tip. This one is the one I think everyone should be doing, because there's no reason not to do it. This is such a simple one to do. Upload your videos in 4K, even if you recorded in 1080p. The reasoning being, and this is a big one here, the codecs that YouTube use for 4K and 1080p are not the same. You get more bitrate from the 4K one. It's a way better looking image. So you can trick YouTube into having your video in higher bitrate by uploading in 4K. How you do that You export your project as a 4K project, even if you record in 1080p. You just upscale it to that. The only downside to this is if someone's on a 4K display, it won't look that good for them. But if they're watching a 1080 video on a 4K display, it already doesn't look good. So it's really no loss. And then everyone else who's watching on a 1080 display or a cell phone or something like that, the video quality is gonna look so much better. So if you're new to doing videos or never heard of this before, I highly recommend you start doing this. This is the easiest thing you can do that will improve your quality, and it literally doesn't require any skill or any sort of like know-how. It's literally just making one choice when you're exporting your video, and it makes the world of difference on your video quality. So yeah, do that one. So important. So just do it. Okay, that's all I got. So that is my 5 tips for maximizing your quality on YouTube. Little tricks I've learned that will help you get the best out of your videos on this platform. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found this useful, or if any of these tips were something new that you didn't know, hit the thumbs up on this video. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Don't know what it's going to be, so hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next one. Later!